Welcome back, everyone. My guest today sold the Melbourne cricket ground in his early 20s. Then he built one of Australia's most trusted digital agencies. And in 2016, did something most founders only dream about. He systemized himself out of his own business and walked away. The book that came out of that experience, Systemology, great book, by the way, has become the global standard for businesses that want to run without being dependent on their owner. And he's now coached founders in 48 industries across 27 countries. And his new book, Systems Champion, names the one role most companies are missing. So, welcome, David Jenyns.
Hey, Simon. An absolute pleasure to be here.
So good to have you. And I was actually a little bit worried about you because I know that you're crushing it since years, and then Claude Code comes about and you can just speak an SOP and it becomes an SOP. So I was like, oh my God, how is David gonna do? But you jumped on it and you are actually forward engineering with AI. Tell us about how did AI impact your life?
When it hit, it was definitely a huge shock. We saw ChatGPT like a lot of business owners and thought, wow, this is going to be huge. And for us, we felt the impact immediately. One of our tasks and products that we offer to clients is we help them document process. And you're exactly right. As soon as it came out, you would just go to ChatGPT, post a transcript of you doing a particular task, and it would draft up that SOP. So almost overnight, that part of the business just disappeared. And it was a real challenging time for me. We had to let go of some staff. We tried to replace some of them, but then after about 12 months, we let a couple go. And what it actually did, though, like I look back now, and it was most definitely a blessing because it put this sense of urgency for me to act and start doing things now because it's very clear that AI is changing everything about what we do. And that got me to go all in on AI and training up our team on how to use some of these tools because uh, things can just change like that. And you've really got no option rather than to go all in.
This is so powerful, and I'm glad that you share it so openly because so many companies, I estimate that most companies are actually 50% overstaffed globally,
Yeah.
large and small, right? And not everybody wants to admit that, but now we all are getting challenged, right? What is it that you do that Cloud Code cannot do with me? And you attacked it head on. And I hope that people seeing this go, oh, it's not that wild. It's not that, well, it is hard for a period of time, but you come out the other side stronger, actually, if you build a process. Can you share the process of how you guys went through changing that?
Well, a big thing for me was thinking about how and where we were going to use AI. It was very clear that it was powerful, but then the question is, and what are we going to get it to do? Because AI can make a beautiful picture of a cat holding your logo, wearing a space helmet, standing on the moon. And just because AI can do that doesn't mean you should get AI to do that. And is it really going to have any meaningful impact on your business? I started to realize that you need to go back to, well, how does the business function? What are the core tasks that we are completing, and how can AI help us do that faster, cheaper, and better? And I was a bit worried right when it hit, and I went through that challenging time, and I was questioning where does process fit into this? And will process still play a part in business in years to come? And then it made me realize that it's actually more critical than ever because process explains how you do what it is that you do.
It's the only thing
And
you
you
can
need to
trust.
start there.
It's the only thing
Yeah.
you can trust when things change.
Yep. And it's one of the lines I've started using is that process is the programming for the machines.
Mm-hmm.
When we take an SOP and we ask an AI to complete that task, and we're using different terminology now, like Claude uses this idea of skills. We have a skill, and a skill is just an SOP that the robot follows. So my best clients are rocketing ahead with AI because they understand process, things are already documented, and it's a very small step for them to then re-engineer those processes. So I realize we're actually right where we need to be to ride this wave.
We had to change a lot also on our side because most of what we would do also Cloud Code can do right now. And being smart, knowing what's going on in other industries, well, Claude can do that. So we had to change how we do it. And the only thing in this radical change, which was 20-hour days, the only thing
Yeah.
that we could trust was actually processes, like the process of how we do a sales pipeline, of how we break down our vision into strategy, into projects, into tasks. That's literally what saved me in that week where we transitioned so hard. And also, one thing that I learned from your first book, from Systemology, I think it was in your book where you said, start with the money generating processes. Start with how you
Yes.
get paid and what happens before. This was so critical. And I'm still doing it right now. So when I started implementing AI, I started with the payment processes. And then what happens before closing the deal? What happens before you close the demo call? So I'm going backwards from the payment processes because otherwise you're starting too many things at once. So we're going workflow by workflow. Does it still hold true?
Yeah. Well, oftentimes, I mean, you need to answer the question, where do you start? And AI now gives us infinite possibilities and we can implement things very quickly. So the question is still a question of focus and focusing how the business makes money and ruthlessly working towards the goal of being able to deliver your core product or service without key person dependency. That's still the goal. And if you achieve that, something magical happens inside the business owner. Most business owners, especially when they're small teams getting started, oftentimes less than 30 staff, many times they haven't had the experience from start to finish of the business generating revenue without them giving some form of involvement. And when you show them that that's possible, it unlocks something inside them and it helps them to realize, I can build a business here as opposed to running a job in a business that they own.
What are the questions that you're getting most right now?
A lot of times, people always ask, well, where do we start? What are the first few processes that we get in place? People are asking, what tools should I use? Oftentimes, the what tools question is a big one and sometimes can feel very surface level, like you're chasing shiny objects. A new AI tool is getting launched every day, and it's very hard to try and keep up. So just focusing on the tools level is oftentimes not going to get you the outcome that you're after. I think focusing uh, deeper around what are the core tasks that are going inside the business, capturing what you're currently doing. Oftentimes, I even get people to use the tools that they're already using. Most people, they have G Suite or Office. So, G Suite has Gemini built in, and they're probably not using that AI to, a fraction of its potential. So, just saying, hey, well, let's start there. Let's start to use Gemini gems and how do we make sure that the whole team is using it? Because that's probably the other thing as time has progressed that has really become clear. We know a team member that uses AI will outperform a team member that doesn't probably 10 times. So that gap now is getting wider and wider and more visible because people have had the time now to start adopting it and using it and getting comfortable with it. So, really focusing on changing that culture and communicating this to your team that, hey, we all need to get on board here. The world around us is changing, and we don't want to be the next Blockbuster or Kodak or a company that failed to innovate.
Are you working directly from the terminal? Is that right? You have multiple terminals in front of you right now?
I do it through Cursor. So I run out of effectively the terminal, but then I like the folder structure and to be
Mm-hmm.
able to see my folders as
Mm-hmm.
well. I'm quite visual in the way I think about systems and departments and how things are organized. And obviously, I'm manipulating a lot of files, and I want to build that, local repository well enough that I could effectively plug it into any AI. At the moment, we love Claude Code, and it's dominating, and it's able to connect with all of our favorite tools and can do so much for us. But I also know the magic is in our files and how we've trained it and all of that context that we give it. So yeah, today cursor, tomorrow, who knows?
So if you want to switch in a year to something else, you could bring all your file structure over.
Yeah, that's the way that I think about it. And it's simple, a way I think about structuring our content and files. And I do it in our Google Drive. I do it when I'm working locally. I do it in our System Hub account. I do it in our Asana. It's the same structure. I think in terms of the departments. So we think about marketing, sales, operations, finance, HR, management. And then underneath each one of those, there's usually a collection of processes and or tasks that need to be complete, processes that then detail how those tasks need to be complete. And then we also oftentimes think about the cadence and the rhythm of when these tasks need to be complete.
Do you still need Asana in your world now that you have this cursor cloud combination, or is it just fun to use? And that's why you keep it.
It's more of a communication thing across
Hmm.
the team and having a real clear audit trail. So I get my Claude to jump into my Asana and work with me and run tasks. Some of the tasks we've even automated, and I'm loading it up to GitHub, and we run cron jobs, so they run on certain cadences. But part of the process is for it to come back to the Asana task and comment what it's done. So there's a human in the loop that used to do the task that now oversees the task being done, but it's still reporting back in. So we've got a very clear way for everybody to know when the AI is doing something and when a team member's doing something.
GitHub is really cool. 2 months ago, I wouldn't even know what a GitHub repo is because I'm not a
Yes.
technical person. More of a marketing
Yep.
person. And and now that we have a GitHub repos, like 70 of them,
Yeah.
it's a community build. It's a marketing aspect and community building aspect. There's hundreds of people following, starring, forking.
Yeah.
It's a whole community.
It's for anybody who remembers the Matrix movie uh, from many moons ago. There was a scene in the Matrix where Neo's standing in this white room, and he talks about downloading Kung Fu, and they plug it into his brain and he downloads it, and then he goes, "Now I know Kung Fu." I almost feel like that's what these GitHub repos are like. Like you can download a skill. If you want to train up your Claude code on how to work with and edit PowerPoint presentations for your next slide deck when you're doing a pitch, well, you can teach Claude Code how to work with those files, give it your branding style guide and making sure that you've defined, the way that you like things designed, and then it can draft things up. It's incredible. be having uh, a sales call with someone. I'll take the transcript that Fathom records for me, and I've got a GitHub uh, task that happens on a daily cadence. It downloads the Fathom, it processes the recording and saves it into the right location. And when I need to do a sales pitch for someone, because it's recorded those calls, I'll say, "Hey, I'm about to meet with Sarah, and we're going to be talking about the Systems Champion Academy. Can you please prepare the slide deck on the Systems Champion Academy and populate it with all of her pain points?" And it just goes away and gets me a fantastic draft. And it learns skills. It's incredible.
Is your systems champion a human or an agent?
Uh, Human. Generally, the way I think about systems champions are the systems champion helps to build the culture in the organization around systemization and AI adoption. So they are the person who will meet with team members and help them do it for the first time and organize things, and they bring the human to this whole process. And um, initially, when you first start out and your business hasn't got very strong systems muscles, you get a systems champion that you identify, someone on your team, it's their role, and they effectively get this fire started. And over time, really what you want as everybody builds this systems culture is you want everybody on your team to be a systems champion. You want to recruit looking for people who will follow process and help to improve process and fit into your pre-existing culture. And really, everybody should be a systems champion.
For us, I literally don't know what culture anymore means because we have three, help me. We have three humans and 122 agents. And
Yes,
Discord, yes, it was 35 2 weeks ago, but they are spawning new guys as they tackle bigger things. And they have a lot of autonomy and permissions, and they have their own Discord where they talk to us. And it's Cloud Code only. Um, so it's safe, but they're very active and they communicate in different ways to humans. So I was thinking, okay, who will be the HR person here, learning about communication, human to agent, agent to agent, agent to human? We need to learn this, and it's a new culture that's emerging. And if I don't intentionally shape it, it will just happen. I think we have to intentionally shape it. Is that one role of the champions, of the systems champion?
definitely. I think a big part of what a business becomes is bottling the DNA of the founder initially. Like a lot of the qualities that you have, you project that into the fabric of the business and the process and the way that things are done. That then is picked up by other team members, and ultimately that means it's going to get picked up by the AI as well. So I think there are certain rules and standards and things that you need to enforce. It's often just about, I mean, at its core, if we were to say, if you had to break it down into just uh, one thing, it's the values. It's what is important to you and what would you follow regardless. Hey, we are systems thinkers here. We adjust and are flexible, and where we focus in on excellence and delivering for our clients, like getting very clear on those types of high level rules. Because if you think about it, a process, a very specific how to tells someone how to do something, but you won't always have a process to follow every scenario. And in the situations where you don't have a process, then you want to have a default set of rules that you can fall back to. And that's the values. That's also, a level under that is your policies, which is how you do what it is that you do.
Totally. And I was thinking about your first book actually a lot. Let me share here something. We we try to organize by roles and responsibilities. And I say try because every week it's a new thing that I'm looking at here as the complexity of this grows. So we are 3 humans, 5 advisors,
Yes.
122 agents. Each agent needs to work towards one advisor. They
Yep.
cannot be just loose. And then there is 10 self-improving loops, because I want everything that one agent learns right now in the next 10 minutes to be available to what the other agent is doing, because maybe they're sending an email and this agent just learned from LinkedIn that this word works better than the other word. I want the email to be informed by that. So we need to learn across the parts of the business.
Yes.
And so what I just made up is roles, expected outcomes, responsibilities, and not this. We're not expecting this from him.
Yes.
And it's a first structure, but I guess you have a more elaborated way of doing this.
No, look, I think the thinking is sound, and I'll pull out one thing that you said because I think it's critical and a game changer is the self-improvement loops. Anyone who's listening to this, just that idea on its own, when we apply it with AI, that's the magical formula because the system can iterate and think and learn so much quicker. And that's how you get these exponential curves. So I think trying to identify where self-improvement loops can be installed in your business and with the various tasks is an incredible unlock for anybody listening.
Yes. And so some things you will realize, oh, I don't have this in a digital way. You might want to digitize them, like in some form. And even physical processes, you can actually map in the digital world. For example, on my biceps, there is a Whoop tracker, and that tells me about my breakfast tomorrow. Simon, you're training harder tomorrow, your cholesterol will go up. So eat this in your porridge, put in this here in your cereal, put in more of this and less honey, because honey would spike your cholesterol even more. So you can actually connect even the physical world. If you have physical processes, manufacturing or physical services, you can actually connect that too.
What AI does is like they used to talk about this idea that data is the new oil. And that's been a saying that's been around for a very long time. But previously, it was mining that oil and refining it, especially for the small business owner, wasn't really possible and a thing. Like it was just too costly, big data. You need data analysts. AI now makes that possible for everybody. And AI is great at taking in mass amounts of data from various different sources, overlaying them on top of each other, and then identifying different patterns and opportunities and linkages that a normal, everyday business owner just wouldn't see. So, just as you were talking about there, Simon, from a health perspective, in a business perspective, it's the same. I mean, we can plug in Stripe data, we can plug in MYOB data, we can plug in Google Analytics, we can plug in your Asana and other Google tasks or Google software applications as well. And it can then pull from all of those data sources into one location, layer it on top of each other, start to find the linkages to spot things that you just can't see normally. And then from there, make really great decisions. Just like you said with the health, like to have visibility around what's going on inside your body and what's coming up and what you're about to do, and then make proactive suggestions in advance to make sure that you're well fueled. Like that is now possible in every aspect in your life.
Let's talk about your newest book, with the Systems Champion. Which chapter is most alive for you?
I think The book opens by talking to the business owner, saying you need a systems champion and you're not that. Because for a lot of business owners, they're not great at process. And then the rest of the book is actually written for the systems champion themselves, like it's an instruction manual. My first book was written for the business owner, and then I worked with a lot of companies and saw all the big breakthroughs, all related to uh, if they didn't have great process beforehand, the turning point was getting someone plugged in to do this role and then running with it. Um, and then the rest of the book, as I said, really is the instruction manual for them. If I think in terms of what stands out for me for the systems champion, I do talk a little bit about this link to the AI champion. It's chapter 15. Uh, it is process first, and then we power up with AI. But I find if you have an understanding of systems and processes, it gives you a competitive advantage to then understand AI and how to leverage it. You understand how the business works, how tasks are connected together, how when we make one change over here, it can affect this part of the business over here. So you think more holistically, and it's you from a a curious mind, you're not more than a step or two away being able to leverage some of these new tools. So I love that. I wrote this book now. We're probably coming back now because you write it a lot further in advance than um, when the book is actually released. So I'd written it about 6 months prior to when it was released. So I love going, when I wrote this, I wanted to make sure it was written in a way that it'll stand the test of time. It's also one of the reasons why I didn't say systems and AI champion, because I actually think the term AI will almost be like the word the internet. Like
Hmm.
you don't say this iPad comes
Yeah,
now with the
true.
internet. Like it's
Yes.
it's an iPad or it's an iPhone. So, and I think AI will be the same. AI is going to be built into everything, but I think this systems thinking will really be evergreen, and I think will stand the test of time. So it's great just seeing some of my forward thinking just lock into place and go, wow, I saw that probably 12 months ahead of most people, even when they're on the bleeding edge.
I get a lot of questions recently. Hey, Simon, can I just buy all your systems? Because they see me using my 122 agents. Can I just buy them and plug them into my company, like you said in the Matrix? And I go, no, you can't. I would never give them to you because it's like me asking Ronaldo for his training regimen of next week. If I do that, I just break all my muscles. That's all that happens. I'm just sore. Nothing more
Yes.
happens than that. I would have to gradually start day by day. What does Simon's day look like on a Monday? What can he train? When can he train? So again, we're back to workflow by workflow, right? What do you say to people who say, yeah, I'm just buying this system and then everything runs? How do they actually start?
Mm. I use a similar analogy when, we talk about what's the first really well systemized business that comes to mind. And a lot of
Hmm.
people go, McDonald's, like they're very well systemized. Um, and people think that they need to systemize like McDonald's, but then they forget that McDonald's has been doing this for, close to 70 years now. So they've obviously learned a thing or two about how to do process and build it out. So starting at that Olympic level will break you. So you do need to start um, down and dirty. The way McDonald's got started, there's a great movie called The Founder with Michael Keaton in it. And one of the very first scenes, they are out on a basketball court and they have some chalk and they map out the floor plan of a McDonald's store. And they're like, oh, we'll put the fryers here. Let's put the milkshake machines over here. Let's put the service counter here. Oh, no, no, let's not do that because it's too close to that and people will run in front of each other. Let's move that. That's how systems are created, even in the AI world. Like I will build a process over the course of, you know, a week and I'll layer things up and I'll say, oh, that's not quite what I wanted. Let's move this here. Okay, we need to reconnect this. Like it's this iterative building upon what it is that you've got that gets you the result. It's just installing it completely done. You won't be able to replicate or get the result. Oftentimes, it does more harm than good.
I love this. It was my intuition. And I will have to watch the movie, The Founder. Sounds great.
Yeah, great movie.
Because we all want to have that systemized business, right? But we really have to surrender to where we are and start where we are bit by bit.
Yes, yeah. The good thing is, it's never been easier. Like one of the biggest friction points when it comes to process, historically was, I mean, there was a leap forward when we all got to start doing looms and recording things. That was a great leap forward for many. Um, then there was another huge leap forward when AI came out, and then we could take the transcript and it would draft up that first process and it would do it in the blink of an eye. That was historically the biggest friction point. So now it's more about the thinking and the focus and where are we going to put our attention because we can do almost anything now. And I think that's, yeah, empowering business owners that previously, had thought that they couldn't build process or process wasn't for them or they weren't a process person. It's now so much easier, and there's never been a more important time to do it as well. So um, we are right now at ground zero, the most important time in history to understand process, to get clear on your processes, and it's never been easier.
I love this. I love this. And are there areas where you say, I'm actually disappointed by AI? AI can actually not help me with this, but there is this other area where I'm surprised by the upside of what it can do.
I'm realizing that because AI has PhD level knowledge in everything, it's very easy to default to using AI just in what you know. Because, I mean, you go to AI and you ask a question and you want it to do something for you and it does it. But you've got to ask the question. And sometimes you don't know the question to ask. So your default is, like, I'm sure for you, Simon, one of the first things you would do with AI is you've gone very deep on sales and how and where can AI help us to accelerate that. But there might be other parts of the business that you might not have as deep a knowledge on that you wouldn't know the questions to ask and you wouldn't get that outcome. For me, I've obviously gone very deep on process because that's my thing, but I'm not as strong at sales like you are. So the quality of the questions I would be asking on sales compared to you would be very different. Um, so that's becoming more and more obvious to me. And, really it's just a muscle. Everything you need to be by default asking and running through the AI because you don't oftentimes really know what it is that you don't know. And getting it to ask you questions as well can be great because you don't always know what questions to ask it. Um, but it surprises me every single day. Its design skills are getting better. Its image skills are getting better. It's getting better at understanding video. It obviously knows code very well. I was doing some work. I mean, my first business was an SEO and digital agency. So over the course of about 2 weeks, I rebuilt my main website, davidjenyns.com, just as like a speaking website. And I've rebuilt it and the SEO that I could deploy and the articles that could be built out and all that stuff previously that probably would have taken me literally 6 to 12 months of getting to that thing, I would have completed in a couple of weeks. And I just know that's one tiny example. Uh, and that's why it's so important to empower your team who have other skills, because they're going to go to it and get that same superpower outcome, but they're going to be asking different questions of it and solving different problems in your business.
You don't have only two books, you have also a program and a certification. Tell us about those.
Yeah. So I uh, have a platform like a SaaS to store SOPs in the cloud. I almost see it as like the brain that you plug into your AI to really power it up. We also have some training for systems champions. I realize that the business owner is very busy and they oftentimes don't have time, and they're usually very weak at process. So I thought, well, you know what? It'll go along with the book. I'm going to have a program to train them. And then some of our best systems champions go on to make a career out of it. And they're our systemologists. They uh, work as consultants with business owners to deploy this IP in their business. So yeah, a little bit of an ecosystem. People read the book. Many of them, the book is enough and they implement it and get great results. Some people need a little bit of extra help, and we have some programs for that. And then those who just go, wow, this is my thing, then we normally invite them into our community, and then we sort of start working together and, change the face of small business together.
Yes. And guys, his first book alone is worth going right now to Amazon and buy it. It's called Systemology. It's so good. I just quoted you how I am using it when I'm systemizing and even with clients as I start from this. That was just one lesson from one chapter that I remember many years later. So it's a really, really good book. And I think a business with systems is 10 times more resilient and has more durability. Also, your exit value goes up because if there are systems, it's less reliant on one person. It's an actual business, right? So it's worth more. So for that alone, that book is really, really good. And David, where should people go to connect to you, to find you?
Yeah, just head to systemology.com, or run a search on Amazon for Systemology. That's really the best place to start. And if you're listening to this, you might like audiobooks, so you'll be happy to know there's an Audible version as well. So if you want to listen along that way, and get started on the journey, it's an exciting time to be a business owner.
Thank you, David, for being on the show, sharing your wisdom, for showing up to the community of systemizers every day since years. And please come back soon.
For sure. Thank you.